Yeah, man.
Hey everybody, I'm back with Coach Pfiester. We got him back for another week. Coach, it was we had two opportunities to talk to you before the first round of state playoffs. So first round of state
Yes,
playoffs are
sir.
coming up though. So, good luck to you. But
Appreciate
in,
it.
in your time off, we had got to talk to you twice. So,
Yeah, love
but
it. Love it.
yeah, today is the day now. I said it last time. The Power T video on a YouTube channel is the most watched video. It's because people they'll say we're air raid. We don't need all that. Kids don't want to play in it, right? Nobody
Yeah.
wants to do that. But then they're watching it over all the other videos. We got every offense on there. They're watching yours the most. So I do
Well,
want to talk to you a little about the Power T. Like first, I mean, if you want to tell a little history of how you got there, but also why. So maybe how and why.
I played for a legendary Power T coach in Michigan. I played for Irv Sigler, who turned around Olivet College running the Power T, and playing in that system in college was a big deal. Obviously, to learn it in depth and growing up in Michigan, it's a huge popular offense in Michigan for high schools. And then again, playing for Irv, and then my first job was actually I moved to Georgia with Steve Hamilton, who was coming from Gibraltar Carlson High School downriver Detroit. Went to Woodland High School at Cartersville, and we had no idea what that was going to be like. But we brought the T to Georgia back in 2007, and we made Woodland better. It's one of those things we look back now, and I joke with Andy, who's there now, and it is still a very difficult situation, but he works his tail off. But that place hasn't been 5-5 since we were there in 2008, running the
Mm.
Power T. And so I've seen that system work, and one of the things I've used in some interviews before I got this job was, the results at different schools that have run the system. And it's big schools, it's small schools, it's inner city schools, it's suburban schools. It doesn't matter because football is football. It don't matter where it's played at. There's 11 guys on each side of the ball, and it's a system that allows us to put our kids in a position to be successful, eliminates variables. So that's kind of where I learned it from. That's my belief system, is that again, we want to be different and give as many kids as possible the chance to be a part of an offensive system.
Yeah, coach. I mean that's not what I ran, but I'll tell you what, I would have run it if I thought it would help us win. I couldn't care less what we ran. I just want to win. But I have found we talked last time about turning the program around, and coach was a coach at Long County. They really struggled for about 15 years or so before coach got there, and they've been pretty decent at least ever since he got there, and now they're trying to break in to winning playoff games. And so the Power T is unique, and it is one of the reasons why you've been successful there, no doubt. Talk to me about why, because I love the practice stuff, like things like that. Like it limits the number of techniques. Like these are the kind of things I know you've told me before. So like
Yeah.
anybody that's like, I don't know, man. But our friend Rocky Hidalgo, who coached at Walton when I was at Sequoia, me and Rocky have known each
Yep.
other a long time. We couldn't have been more conventional coaches at Walton and Sequoia. And then Rocky went to the Flexbone this year, I mean, they went to
Yeah.
Harding and they totally went to the Flexbone. And there's somebody listening to this thing because I don't know why, but a lot of people listen to this coach. I don't know why, but they do. And there's somebody, even outside of Georgia, that's going to listen to this and be into it. So what I'm saying is like, tell me why beyond it's unique, the things that you thought gave you an advantage, whether it even be practice stuff or reps or just a scheme of why this was so critical for you guys turning this place around.
Well, a big thing is, like I said, you get a lot of people involved. It's a three-back offense. And when you have a quarterback that can run, it's really a four-back offense. So on any given play, there's four kids that have, at the end of the day, an equal chance of getting a carry. Where when you spread it out and you throw it around, teams can take away guys. There's a lot of variables. And with the T, we eliminate some variables. Now, we do get variables in terms of fronts that we see in defenses because it is unique. And so people a lot of times have a hard time playing their base defense. So we do get some odd stuff, but our kids learn a set of rules and they can apply it to any front. And now at practice, we can get a whole bunch of reps. Like yesterday, it was trap day for us. We have our days kind of organized by series almost, and it was trap day. So I bet we ran our four different versions of trap. I bet we ran 50 to 75 reps of just trap yesterday. And now this is playoff week, and so it's late in the season, but we're still repping our base fundamental play, and it allows those kids to get more and more reps doing a very set specific scheme. If I play tailback in our offense, I run trap, I run an off tackle power play, and I run toss. And that's kind of about all I do. And I get really good at that. If I'm a halfback, I smash block, I run power, and I run sweep, and that's what I do. And so that's the big thing about the offense is it allows you to systematically build skills for each position and then just get a ton of reps at it while looking pretty complicated to the defense because of the fakes and the ball being covered and not seeing the ball and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's it's usually double tight end, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
stay two
well,
tight ends.
so it's funny. The first couple of years, first year we were double tight end vast majority of the time. The next 2 years, I fall into that trap of we had a kid show up that can play quarterback and he's pretty good, so we'll mix in this, and it was good, it was fine. And then, we got to have a little gun set. What if this? And it's been okay at times. In this offseason, I said, screw that, man. We have been two tight ends on the field 100% of our snaps this year. Now we haven't been T 100% of the snaps, but we've had two tight ends on the field. And we've evolved over the course of the season. And if you've watched us late in the season, you've seen some single wing stuff creep in. But that allows our blocking rules to stay the same, gives us some unbalanced, funky looks, but we're still blocking power, we're still blocking trap, blocking sweep. So I say that because the T, if the kid learns the base system, I can move the backs around wherever I want. We're still blocking trap, power, sweep. And so it's a pretty adaptable system.
For anybody listening that's not really familiar with Georgia or Long County, coach is a middle-sized, the 3A is kind of like a middle-sized school for the state. So you're going to have some people playing both ways, right? I mean, you may
Yes.
have everybody about playing both ways. Have you found that is what, because you're limiting the number of techniques, have you found that is helpful? Like
Oh,
given that,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we can build again. Our practice structure is that we don't do as much, so we get more reps of what we do. And now with guys playing both ways, and that's been another one of those battles of how do we get enough time and practice reps on O and D? And we've done it a few different ways, but absolutely because on the day that it's alley day for offense, that's an off tackle day for us. Well, that's going to be like inside run day for defense. So our practice schedule kind of fits each other, so it complements one another. And on Wednesday for us is a perimeter day, so we're working our sweep game and keep game and that kind of stuff. Well, that's going to be a more of a perimeter passing day for our defense. And so
mm-hmm.
I do think that it allows us to build a schedule that fits and it allows our defense to be prepared while also getting our kids reps offensively.
Well, one thing I see people maybe definitely inadvertently doing, they're not messing up on purpose, but I do see some of the smaller schools sometimes struggling to play people both ways, in part because they've got so many things in on both sides of the ball that they just can't really get them all worked in the 1 hour, maybe 50 minutes that you can really get it in. And so they try to do it and they're just not very good, or they give up and they're playing people more one way. And I'm telling you that unless you're in the big time ball, it's just, I would lose with my best kids out there. I'm just telling you, it's just the Parker philosophy, for whoever wants to hear it, but I would not go down without my best kids playing as much as possible.
Correct. Well, and that's the thing, the system allows us to. We've had kids, in the past, we had a running back in my first couple of years in Amari Douglas, who was a 1,500-yard rusher, best, region offensive player of the year. Great kid, great player. The system's simple enough. He was our tailback. Well, he ran trap. Well, if somebody decides, if there's a team that says, you know what, we're not going to let you run trap, they can do that. That's fine. But you can't do that and stop off tackle and sweep. And so then Amari, go play halfback and go run sweep and go run off tackle.
Because you can play more positions because there's not that many techniques. Right.
I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it's power off tackle. You're going to take a crossover step, make a pocket, get the ball, and run like hell. And so, and our players, our best kids, they all play multiple positions, even on offense. They play tailback, they play halfback.
And the simplicity allows that, right?
Yes. And
whereas you got some offenses where the Z receiver and the H are both inside or something, and they're totally different positions, for what they're asking them to do. So I think an exercise I would advise anybody that's listening to this, even if you don't run the T, coach is giving you a great insight on how to build your offense here in the offseason. You start with techniques. So one thing I always did, and I never ran the power T, but I did do this. You take a position, you write down all the plays you run. So we've got these plays. You write them all down, power, counter, try, whatever they are. Inside zone, these passing plays, these play actions, whatever. All right, what's this kid do? Just take a position. All right, he blocks down, he reaches, whatever it is. You start with, well, how many things is that? And if you're getting beyond 8 or 9 or 10 things,
Yeah.
they ain't gonna be able to do it. I
No,
mean, it
that's a
sounds
lot.
good. Or, so you really got, and sometimes people don't realize that. You know how many times you've been to a clinic? Last time we made fun of the people that say everybody calls them, nobody calls them.
Yeah.
Now, this time we can make fun of this. How many times you been to a clinic where a guy said, our offense is really complicated. We run a million things. They never say that. What they always say is, hey, we only run 4 or 5 plays. But then they show 25 plays on the clips.
Yeah.
So they don't run 4 or 5 plays.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're not running much until they do what I just said. If you really sit down and write down every play you call on offense and write down what technique that kid does on those plays, you will find that you're asking him to do a lot. And what I'm saying is Coach Pfiester does not. He's not joking. The dude does 3 things. Like so
Yeah.
you can teach 3 things. But if you're teaching a guy 11 things and then you want him to slide over and play running back too, where there's 12 or 14 more things, they're just not, I mean, they may be able to memorize what to do. I'm not saying that's not possible, but they're not gonna be good at it.
Correct. Well, I'm a big repetition guy. I just think, you've got to get a whole bunch of reps to be comfortable because at the end of the day, yes, against the scout look on Tuesday at our practice field, you can kick somebody's tail. But on Friday night, if you're not doing stuff right, that kid from Calvary or that kid from Jenkins is going to hammer you. And so we got
Have
to
you
make sure that
also
we're
found,
locked in.
I got a great question because I thought of this. Have you found that because it's limited and because you can get a million reps, you can get into the nice to do stuff. And here's what I mean by that. So teaching counter, everybody runs a counter, some variation of that. So
Mhm.
if you're doing a counter play, everybody blocks down, some people pull, and you kick in your wrap, right? So how many times do I go watch practice? And I did it too. And it's just a mauling. Like we run counter, and the poor scout team guy just kind of stands there and gets kicked. And well, you and I
Yep.
both know that's not what they're going to do on Friday night. They're going to squeeze this. There's a squeeze the piss out of it. You're going to have to
Yep.
log that guy. So what you want to do is get to a point where you're not just repping counter. We've rep counter so many times, that's boring. We're going to make it hard on ourselves. I'm going to
Yeah.
put this guy in a sprinter stance and tell him just chase that tackle that's pulling
Yeah.
and see if
Yep.
we can still dig him out or see if, like, I felt like when I got to stuff like that was when I limited techniques. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We had more time to get to the like 200 level class or the
Correct.
300 level class. Is that what you find?
Yeah, and I think what we have to do, I had to do this yesterday during trap day, is that scout look. Sometimes, because again, they say people play a certain way against us. They're going to squeeze everything. They're going to wrong arm the trap, wrong arm the pullers, all that good stuff. Sometimes those guys with the bags won't go hard enough. I'll slide them up so they're like even with the ball, so that they're like already across the line of scrimmage to make that path for our guy harder. Because again, when our guard pulls on trap, he can't be too deep. He's got to get up into the line of scrimmage to
Mm-hmm.
get his head inside. All those details that I can manipulate because again, we have enough time and experience in what we're doing. I can manipulate that bag to line up wherever I want, and that kid don't have to be as good of a player with the bag, but it gets our starter that look that he needs. And so you're right, you can manipulate the scout look. We have a period we had never been very good at throwing and catching, which is obviously we run this offense, but like we just don't have a bunch of kids that can catch the ball. It doesn't seem like. So we added a period this year, trap pat, where we run either it's a trap play or it's a play action pass. There's no secondary. We'll get an 8-9 man front and make our offensive line block the worst front they could get for a keep pass or a boot. But our receivers are going to be open because guess what? When we throw the ball in the game,
The
typically they're wide
receivers are
ass
open.
open,
I guarantee you they're
right?
open. Yeah.
And so it allows our guys to be comfortable running in space, catching a ball because sure as hell, even against if you run a scout DB out there, it's cover 3 against us. That kid's gonna back up to 20 yards. We never see that in a game, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that DB is a
If you
waste of
do, it
space.
doesn't matter. You're not even going to need to call that
Correct.
play because it's not going to matter.
Right. So we got this period where we have an 8 or 9 man box. It makes it hard on the O line, and we're working our bubble pull for a keep pass and our slide for boot and all that good stuff. But our skill guys are getting great work of getting out to the perimeter and catching the ball in space where they're going to be open anyway.
That is one of the things we ran back in the day when teams were more accustomed to being heavy run, wing T teams, whatever. They just didn't catch so many balls. And I think that is one thing now because teams catch so many balls. So you probably do have to find ways. Probably a great question is what is something you think you have to make fit this? Because of all those positives you said, there's always an equal negative. And so is the equal negative that you just don't get the pat and go noose, like whatever the routes on air, whatever the stuff that these air raid teams are just doing every day, you're not getting as much of that maybe. And is that what the negative is?
Yeah, that's something that we try to do pre-practice. Coach Harrison, our OC and quarterbacks coach, he takes all the skill guys, tight ends, halfbacks, fullbacks, takes them out there, and each day has like a theme. One's a vertical day where you're catching corner routes and go routes and stuff. One's a crossing day for like tight ends who run to drag. But he works those just straight catch, like you said, routes on air, but it's different movements. We're going across the field. We're going to run again a corner routes we actually catch. We're not, just out there playing catch. And
Right.
so we steal that time during pre-practice because it's not enough of our system to spend a 10-minute period during actual practice time just throwing balls to people. But we get that skill developed pre-practice. And then when it's trap pat day, now they've caught 10, 15 balls before practice. Now they're kind of in the mood for that. And now I find that they do perform better during the actual group period.
Yeah, so feel free to avoid the question if you want to. But do you feel like, I mean, you guys are going to see all 11 guys playing the run? I mean, you don't have to avoid that question. But is the main thing that you see that you feel like you're just more accustomed to seeing that you have to account for is these guys getting the secondary down into the run game really easily, right? I would assume that's
Yes,
what and so being able to throw the ball is the natural answer to that. But
correct.
what the question you might want to avoid is like one, is that the main concern you see in this offense? And then two, what are some more generic things? You don't tell me exactly what you're going to call tomorrow against Westside, but what 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 are the things that one would do to combat that? Because I would feel like that would worry me.
Well, yeah, our system allows us to kind of have some answers in terms of if their secondary is getting that involved in run support. Well, all of our passes are play action passes. So we know if we've had success off tackle running power, well, keep pass is going to be good. And then it's just a matter of which corner is getting nosier. If it's a single high safety, which is what we predominantly see, how close is he to the line of scrimmage? We have some play action game that it's no mystery. We throw it all the time. We call it Michigan pass. Okay. So you get a deep middle route and a couple outside routes. Well, if that corner's getting real nosy, well, probably that outside corner route's going to be a little bit better in that look. But if that safety's running downhill, well, now that deep post is probably good. So for us, it's just a reactionary thing of we've got keep pass, Michigan pass, boot pass, and some other variations of those. How it's just a matter of us seeing how they're fitting and if there's rotation. And then for us, it's a base play. We rep them all the time. So for us, it's not like a make something up. We can run keep pass. We can run boot if they're vacating a flat. Like we have answers. It's just a matter of can we execute that answer?
But you do have to commit a decent amount of time to that because even though your other stuff is simple and you know you'll be good at it if they'll let you, you've got to be able to execute. Like I always found I had great answers. If they stopped buck sweep, I was calling. If the defense tackle made the play, I was calling this. If the DN did, that was no problem. The problem was when that didn't work because we sucked at that play.
Yeah.
Like I knew the
Well,
play was called. We just weren't any good at it.
well, so
And
here's this is the thing that we talk about all the time. If and I think in a lot of systems, and you probably had it with your stuff, it's the old option to me. I ran the triple when I
mm-hmm,
was with Andy. So you had that triple option if then. If we're
mm-hmm,
getting this, then we go this. Well, my brain and the T works the same way. If this team is just fully committed to stop and trap, well, then this don't run trap. Then that's fine. Let them waste their four
have other
bodies
stuff.
in it. Right. Let them waste their four bodies. Now, if they can do that and still whip us off tackle, well, guess what? They're probably just better than us, and it
Yeah.
don't matter what we run. They're going to beat our ass anyway. You know.
Yeah. And that is what
But
I
we,
found. Yeah.
yeah.
The follow-up question I have to that is really more like, okay, so what you're seeing is junk defense. What I just asked you about is, junk defense. Like they came up with something for the week because that's what
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do, right? But I am telling you this, and this is where you guys coming to Georgia, you really came about maybe a few years too early or a few years too late. Because when I first came to Georgia, which was 7 years for you, everybody ran the ball. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody. We would see one team. It's in Alabama, where I was from. Hoover had kind of gotten hot, and everybody threw the ball. Everybody ran this
Yeah.
Tony Franklin thing, 1999, 2000. That becomes this massive thing that everybody runs. We come to Georgia and like everybody ran the wing T basically, but a few teams ran the I. We didn't see a
Yeah.
lot of the power type T, but I mean, everybody ran the ball. Well, then people knew how to play that, and what became unique was, just getting in 2 by 2 and throwing screens at inside zone or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but you guys are the opposite now. Like, what kind of an advantage is this as we're giving this infomercial for the Power Tee to people? What kind of advantage have you seen from nobody's? I mean, you got 3 days to get ready for this, baby. You didn't see this anywhere else all year, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
defensive coach, he's got 3 days and he doesn't have anything in he's coming up with something on Sunday and they're teaching it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
Right. Well, I do think that, like you said, apparently, maybe you're just blowing smoke, make me feel good. But if this video is the most watched, I do think people are trying to find ways to stop it.
Mhm.
And I do think that the folks that we play consistently on a year in, year out basis, they have better plans each year. But that's why, again, we continue to evolve and within our, you got to have answers. Talk about having answers all the time. The people in the stands and the folks my wife listened to on Friday night, keep running up the middle. Why do you keep doing that? Well, it's not the same play. We just blocked power three
Running
different
up the
ways.
middle is not a
Right.
play in case
We
anybody's
just ran trap two different ways. Right. We've got these variations. So for us, we got answers, but for a staff of defense in 3 days, it may be hard to determine those answers. My point is, but they're reaching out. There's a network now. There's enough teams around the country running it in Michigan, Minnesota, Tarboro, North Carolina has been killing folks with the T for years. There's resources out there, and I do think that the coaches are doing a good job of
Mhm.
of branching out, finding answers. And I've actually right by us, Tattnall County went to the T this year. They have a guy from Michigan that they've hired, and me and him talk a good bit. And they've adapted. They ran the T this year, and they were a little bit better, and they saw a lot of progress. So I think people are kind of picking up on that being different's good. And so hopefully we don't get too many folks interested in it because again, I like that uniqueness.
Well, I think even if, and I appreciate your answer because it was genuine and it was giving credit to, we do have a ton of great coaches in your region. Some of them are friends, some of your friends, they're great coaches. And I don't want to slight them. Don't get me wrong, but you ain't playing against them, bud. They ain't putting a helmet on. So I don't care how many videos they watch. I don't care how much they learned from last year's game with y'all. Those 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, they don't remember last year, okay? They're doing this for 3 days. Okay. So in practice, they're doing it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and play on Friday. So I do think it's a huge advantage. I think one of the advantages is I just made a few notes to ask you about today. Like one of the things that I thought of why should somebody be listening to this? Why should they have made it 20 minutes in? Is that, I mean, no matter how good the defensive coach is, he's got to translate that into those players on what to do. And they are not seeing that many other weeks. That is
No.
such an advantage I see for you guys.
And the biggest thing with our offense is it's a detailed offense. And this is something that we struggle with and we harp on our kids all the time. The biggest difference for us offensively is when our kids will carry out their fakes.
Mm-hmm.
We've saw it in some games in the past few weeks where our kids have done a really good job, and you will literally see the safety running out to the off tackle area as the trap goes by him. Like the man with the ball is running by him, almost touching him, and his eyes are on the fake, and he's off the page. And so that's the detail of, yeah, people can block trap. We know how to block down, go to the backside back, or block back with the center, guard pulls, kicks first. We get all that. That's easy. The hard part is, does your halfback fake off tackle with a vigor, and does he get off, go? And does your alley block halfback get up in there and actually get the support player from folding in? Those are the details that you can tell your kid to run trap at your defense all week. You probably won't get your scout halfbacks to give that same look.
No, this is just going to be, and I'd imagine the first few times y'all run it, because they hadn't gotten that speed of it either, that it is tough. I just think it's a great option. And I just think people should try to be unique. I just think it's kind of cool that y'all are doing that. But you're right, man. It's all about being unique, being able to give yourself a chance. And the Power Tee, is a really neat variation of that. And I like seeing that. And I used to run a lot of buck sweep, but I'll tell you something I did with fake. Let me tell you a fake tip and then I'll let you go. And you probably do something like this. But I always like to do stats different than everybody else. I like to chart something different. I like to be unique in that regard. So we didn't talk to our kids about the more traditional stats, although they'd be in the paper and stuff like that. So sometimes we just charted fakes. Like the only grade they got And of course, I didn't have three backs like you, but we did send jet motion a lot, and we had a back, and there's a lot of cross action out of the gun, like jet and buck and counter off of it and power. And so we would only give the guy grade. Like he had 22 fake opportunities. He had 18 good fakes. So he's doing 4 push-ups. Monday, we're doing 4 push-ups. I mean, 4 push-ups ain't no big deal, but we shined the light on it. You know what I mean? Like I found that stuff to be like super effective. That's the stuff I
Yeah.
wouldn't have told y'all. If I was still coaching, I wouldn't even said it on
See,
here because I
that's
felt
how
like
you
it was
age
really effective, you know?
Yeah, you age yourself though. You went with the negative reinforcement. We give our kids stickers for fakes. We reward them.
You reward them.
This
I
is
just get
this
pissed
is
when they did. I wanted
I,
100%.
but no, we ordered money signs. Like we have Columbia blue money signs in our backs when they get a fake where they actually pull a defender. our running backs coach and Stevie, our OC, will chart that, and that's one of the stickers they can earn. Our skill guys, they get stickers for fakes and touchdowns. We want to score the ball and fake. That's all we care.
That's
And the big
awesome.
guys, if you knock somebody in the ground, you get a sticker. That's it.
And
We
I
want
think
to
it is
block.
important
Like,
when you're doing this, because my last question maybe is that. It's my last question, I promise. Like, what do you say to somebody that says, and I think the culture is what you're saying, but what do you say to somebody that says, well, I would love that, coach. Man, I wish I could get with Coach Pfiester. I love this. I want to do something different. I want to run the flex bone like Rocky Hidalgo. I want to run them with power T like Coach Pfiester. But my kids just won't do that. Like my community won't get behind that. It's too much running, or it's too much. We got to spread it out and throw the ball, or my parents aren't going to go for it, or my booster club, or my principal, or you understand the question, right? I mean, I know you hear
yeah,
that. People are like, I would love to do that, but
yeah.
like, what do you say to that person?
I guess well, the first thing would be that I have a short fuse of that stuff because now if it's a place that's successful, then okay, well maybe
Yeah,
they don't want to do it. But if it's a place that hasn't been, like I said, let's not kid ourselves. If you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get what you always got. So the biggest thing, my thing is again, get kids involved. We have added some other things to our offense that look a little different without changing our identity. And so I guess my thing is whatever your identity is going to be, let's do it and sell the kids on it. I had some kids the first year that did quit. They didn't play. They had played for years past that were receivers. And so you fight that battle. But at the end of the day, if you're good to the kids and they build that trust with you and they know you're trying to do what's best for them, I think that it'll work out. I really do. That's a hard one to answer because that's kind of community centric now.
that's
Like
right.
some places are just different. But at the end of the day, I talk to my staff all the time. I firmly believe 1,000,000% that the staff that we have could pick up and go somewhere in the state of Georgia that's a little different than our place, and we can compete for region and state championships doing what we do. I firmly believe in what we do and how we coach it. And we're going to try to do that here right now. And so that's that mindset of it can work. And that's one of the last things I'll leave you with. This is something that drives me crazy. You talk about the triple that Rocky went to, and people talk about those kinds of offenses, and everyone's willing to say, and they agree that systems like the T or the flex bone or the wing T, it allows teams that are less talented to play with teams that are more talented. Everybody says that. That's kind of like their claim to fame. Well, if you run that same offense with a bunch of damn good players, wouldn't you just beat the shit out of everybody?
Right. And I
That's
mean,
kind of been,
let's just debunk this too. It has nothing to do with getting a chance playing college.
correct.
Meaning, if you're a player, you're a player. I mean, there's plenty of big time quarterbacks in the NFL that ran the wing T in high school, like or ran the
Correct.
option. And I mean that's just one of the dumbest takes ever.
That's a genetic thing.
Yeah, yeah. If you can play, you can play. And so I don't even know if that's even a fair or good question. I know there's people that's their excuse. They just don't feel like
Absolutely.
but I would answer it with you got to have that conviction that you have. So if you're going to actually don't do it if you're not willing to be convicted and do it,
Correct.
and then can you sell that culture? Because what I heard, the reason that question came up was me hearing you talking about your helmet stickers and the culture. You want to score, we want to fake, and we got these blue, I mean, whatever. Like you got maybe because you are a little run heavy and you don't have a lot of receivers and there's not a bunch of screen passes so everybody gets 3 catches a game. Like, you don't have that. But look what we do. Like, what do I have? Well, I'm building this culture around these
Yeah.
other kind of neat things. We're charting these things different. We're giving this, and you tell them receivers, coach. You tell them I said it. they go over and turn around and play defense. You'll let them catch every ball they can.
Correct.
If they can
Correct.
run there and play
Absolutely.
corner, they can catch all the balls that are even possible. Every time they catch one, we'll have a damn celebration.
And I may not be the smartest guy because I run the T, but we had a kid last year that was a 6'3" DB, and he could be a receiver. We put him at safety. He had 8 picks. He's at South Carolina. I'm not that big a dummy. I knew where to put his ass
Yeah.
down the middle of the field. Let him go play defense.
You mean it didn't hurt his college chances?
Not a bit.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Hey,
He was
Coach,
still 6'3" with long arms. Yes, sir.
I know you're busy this time of year, man, and it does mean a lot. You took some time twice to talk to me. And good luck to you, man. I'm really, I try hard not to cheer for like one person over other people that I like and all, but I do really want to see y'all get a playoff win. I'm excited to see what y'all can do.
Man, we sure trying. It's tough when you're the 3 and 4 seed all the time and get over the hurdle in our region, but we're going to give it a shot. We've been closing the gap, and we had a fourth quarter lead last year and couldn't hold it. So hopefully this year we can give ourselves a chance.
Yeah. Hey, and I saw the region breakdowns. We want to, or not the regions, the classification breakdown. We
Ooh,
we don't have to get into that because I'm trying to keep this more generic. But I don't
yes,
know. I
sir.
think it might be okay for you. Maybe.
Yeah, well, there's some schools in Savannah that operate differently than we do that are probably going to end up with us, and
Oh,
you will probably understand how I feel about that very quickly.
maybe
I'll leave
we'll
it at
have.
that.
So I try to keep these to a few different genres. Like this is a little more to generic. This is the main thing that people listen to, and then I have some stuff that's just specific to Georgia, and
Yeah.
and then I'll do some leadership stuff. But the stuff specific, maybe we'll have to have a separate one of these specific to Georgia where we'll turn the ratings off a little bit and let you just have at it.
Yeah, I don't want to listen. I'm not like that fired football coaches guy yet. I still would like to maintain employment, but there's some feelings I have regarding certain schools in our area that
Yeah.
don't operate the way that we do. So
Yeah, it's interesting, but I do appreciate your time, Coach, and and I mean I appreciate your story, and maybe you can go on Chris's podcast and tell where all you came from and all that because
yeah,
that really is awesome to hear. And I know also I just wanted to talk about topics, and I just want to talk
yes,
about
sir.
building a program, and I want to talk about the Power T. But I know you've had a great journey. I know you've been around some awesome dudes. And that's how you get better at football, man, is being around good assistant coach, being an assistant coach for really good head coaches that teach you how to do it. And then when you get your opportunity, you're ready to roll. And I think you're just a great example you're a great example you're a great example for Buford's coach, but you're a great example for all
Wow.
these guys. No, you are, man. But you're good just because you're a good ball coach, you care, you're getting after it. But it's really a good example for these guys who may just feel right now like they're getting overlooked, or the only job they can get's a tough one, or they got the tough job and they're just feeling sorry for themselves. Like, no, it can be done. So,
Yeah.
that's why I'm cheering for you guys. Like, you and I aren't related. We didn't go to high school together, but I cheer for you guys because I think it's such a good lesson for the stuff that I get frustrated about. The whining
Yeah.
and the people just not focusing on what they have. So appreciate you, man. Good luck this
Absolutely.
week.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Again, it's kind of surreal for me to think about where we're at now, where it was 5 years ago, and at the end of the day, I don't really know how to do it any different. So we're going to keep on doing our thing, and hopefully it's good enough to keep growing.
No extra points Friday.
Oh, well, hey, I told Nick all the time.
Back
Here's
to
the deal,
kicking
Nick.
extra
The,
points.
the first one you miss, we're done. We're going to the rest of the night. That's his motivation. So his ass better not
Thanks.
miss any because
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you,
Thanks.
man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.